Wonka is the newest film directed by Paul King, director of both Paddington movies, which are of course amazing. This movie adds to King's style of just making completely joyous movies that are really amped to the max of just happiness, and to some it may be to an annoying extent, but I actually think it works for all the movies that he's made so far. Seeing how overly exaggeratedly whimsical everything is, it's really refreshing to see in the modern cinema age. The film follows a young Willy Wonka, played by Timothée Chalamet, as he attempts to follow his dream in getting his chocolate out into the world. Or at least in this movie, mostly I think London supposed to be, for some undisclosed UK place. England. British. First I want to talk about his performance. At first I didn't know if Timothée Chalamet was going to be a good Wonka, because from what this movie is giving off, this is supposed to be prequel to the original movie, the Wonka movie with Gene Wilder. And firstly, my biggest thing is, as far as appearances goes, I feel like it should have went to Jeremy Allen White. He essentially just looks like Gene Wilder, or at least a young Gene Wilder. It would have been, as terms of facial structure wise and appearance wise, it would have been pretty great casting. But then again, I'm not entirely sure what type of vocal chops he has, because I was surprised to see that Chalamet has actually some pretty decent vocals. A lot of the songs that he sings, which are a good view, he has many of just the lead singing role in this movie. He does a pretty good job with his vocals. He even does, near the end of the movie, a rendition of Pure Imagination, and he does the song pretty well. As for his portrayal as Willy Wonka, I feel like as a young Willy Wonka, this works for what this film is going for. It's going for a more type of childish and whimsical and just full of wonder this Wonka is. He hasn't yet turned into the deranged sociopath that he will grow up to be in either adaptation, and I do feel like some of that is missing. There are elements of it here and there, but other than that, it's not as crazy as you would expect him to be. Maybe something happens down the line in his life that makes him snap. A lot of the other performances in this movie were good as well. I was pretty surprised to see two actors from the Horrible Histories TV series. Comment down below if y'all remember that one. It was really great to see them there as a type of nostalgia thing, even if it's unrelated to Wonka as a whole. For me, it was just a delight to see these two actors there, and they both have pretty good roles in them. I thought Olivia Colman was pretty good in the movie too. Kind of a different role than I'm used to seeing her in. She has slips into this Dahl-esque character, especially the kind of nasty adult characters that you would see in a Roald Dahl story, which is really impressive considering that there isn't, to my knowledge, a prequel book for Willy Wonka. So to create this type of nasty character from scratch and still have it be in the spirit of a Dahl character is really interesting to see. I thought a lot of the songs were pretty decent enough. There was never a point where I was kind of groaning at a lot of the songs where I wanted them to end. None of them are particularly massive earworms either, and unlike a lot of other movie musicals, I'm not sure if they will exactly be in the charts, but I think some of the songs did the movie justice for what it was. Most of the effects looked fine. I have a really big problem when movies use CGI animals when it comes to a lot of scenes, and trust me, this movie takes every opportunity it gets to have a CGI animal in it. Maybe for some cases they just couldn't use an animal for practical use, but man, does it really be really weird to watch on screen when it's happening. So that was definitely a problem I had with the movie. Some other problems were, despite how happy and joyous it was, there was some points in the writing where I didn't think it was inherently strong. There was a lot of really predictable elements in the movie as well. Like at one point there's supposed to be a plot twist, but if you can see some of the characters in the movie, you can figure it out fairly fast. Hugh Grant in the movie was also really weird. Just the inclusion of the Oompa Loompa, it almost felt kind of forced in, like they had to have it. Firstly, when it was in the original Willy Wonka movie, they didn't really speak English at all. They kind of just spoke in rhyme and in singing, and I feel like while Hugh Grant does have a song, he does have an Oompa Loompa song in the movie. If they had have kept to just having him speak in rhyme, I think it would have been more in line with the original idea of the Oompa Loompa. At least it doesn't follow the original book's interpretation of them. That would have been truly a remarkable sight to see. I just think it was weirdly casted for it to be Hugh Grant as well. I get it's an insanely British movie, but it's just a weird choice. It's also kind of the fact that it seems to be some sort of erasure. I don't know entirely how these group of people feel, but it is kind of weird how the dwarf actors are almost getting their jobs taken away from them because some people consider them being used in film as offensive. It's just really weird when they could have gotten anyone. Hell, they could have probably gotten just Warwick Davis to be an Oompa Loompa in it. No, instead they CGI Hugh Grant's face onto this kind of hideous looking creature, and it's just not that good. I didn't really like his inclusion in the movie. Overall though, I enjoyed this a lot more than I thought I would. It's a really fun time, and it's honestly just a really nice movie. It's a perfect little bit of escapism, and it's not harmless at all. It's incredibly inoffensive, and it's just really fun. I'm giving Wonka 4 stars for its truly creative spectacle and the fact that it's another addition into this adaptation that manages to work really well as an origin story for it to stand on its own despite that.